Snow is the next 24
was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. All who were riding in the back of that limo are now gone, except for this distinguished lady, Nellie Connally, the wife of then-Governor John Connally. She's finally telling her story in a new book, and she revealed some pretty amazing things that nobody knew as she paid a visit to Steve, Edie, and Brooke on Fox and Friends.
When the shot rang out, well,
just a second before that, you probably said the last thing to the president.
I was so excited because the crowds were wonderful and they were responding well, and I couldn't restrain myself. So I turned to the president and I said, "Mr. President, you can't say Dallas doesn't love you." And he had that grin, that wonderful grin.
And then?
And then there was a noise. And we had motorcycles around us, so they backfired all the time. I wasn't sure, but I turned and looked at him just in time to see his hands fly up to his neck, and then he just sunk down a few inches.
That was the first shot. Then there was a second shot, and it hit your husband.
Yes, John turned to the right to look at the president. We were in jump seats in front of him, very difficult to maneuver. He couldn't see him. He knew it was a gunshot. He said, "No, no, no," and turned to the left. And he still couldn't see him, and that took a second or two.
Right.
And then when he turned back, the second shot hit him, and he said, "My God, they're going to kill us all," and just fell over, blood everywhere. I pulled him into my lap to get him out of the line of fire so they wouldn't hurt him anymore, and there was a third shot. I couldn't turn because of the weight of my husband, so what got all over us was bloody matter, like buckshot, all over the car, all over my clothes. And later when I saw the pictures, I knew that was the headshot.
What did Jackie say?
She said, "They've killed my husband. I have his brains in my hand."
The criticism that Jackie gets, you bring to task this time. Number one, some people criticize, they say Jackie should have pulled him down after the first shot.
But had you been in that car, you don't know what you would have done.
Yeah.
What was she doing when she went towards the trunk?
I don't know. I didn't see that either until I saw the Zapruder film.
Sure.
But had you been in that car, you might have tried to get out of that car. She said, she didn't say that. She said she was reaching for a piece of his head.
Yeah. It was just reflex. You would think something was flying, and she went after it. But after that, you were taken to the hospital, and the Secret Service drove you there as fast as they could. It was an absolute melee there, and then in a strange circumstance, they take the president to trauma room 1. You and
John
Jackie
is in 2.
In 2. You and Jackie are in the hall. Somebody thinks to bring you a couple of chairs to sit in, and you're just looking at each other.
We're not all that's in the hall. They're Secret Service men, police, guns drawn. Excuse me. We didn't. Everybody wants to know what we talked about. Why would we talk about anything? We were distraught. We were in bad shape. I knew what her problem was. She knew what my problem was. We looked at each other occasionally. We understood.
You did your own private investigation you write about, and you are convinced Lee Harvey Oswald did this alone. Why?
Well, there were 3 shots. They all came from the same place. There was no shot from the front coming in. I heard 3 shots. I have a reaction to 3 shots. I knew they all came over my right shoulder from that building. And when John was appointed Secretary of the Treasury, he got all of the paper that they had done on the Kennedy assassination, and we did not change our mind.
Does he still have bullet fragments in his body?
Yes,
when he died?
He died of pulmonary fibrosis 30 years later.
Certainly quite a lady. And Edie, Steve, and Brian and the whole Fox and Friends gang will be at it again with their #1 morning cable news show, bright and early, starting tomorrow at 6 a.m. Eastern. Up next on Sunday Best, Fox's Colonel Oliver North, always where the action is, last week went back to Iraq. On Your World with Neil Cavuto, he talked with the men who are defending freedom in this dangerous place, and in the usual North style, he got the story of bravery under nearly impossible conditions.
All night long, you can hear the Apache helicopters flying over this installation and around it, patrolling the area. The Quick Response Force was activated earlier this evening, and that kind of thing happens regularly. Whenever a sensor goes off, whenever intelligence indicates that there may be some kind of buildup, Or in the case of the attack early this morning, the helicopters were launched and a ground patrol was launched. In this case, they made no further contact. There's no doubt that American military activity has picked up significantly in the last few weeks, Neil.
Colonel, I don't want to just judge policy here, and I know our service members can't do that or certainly question their bosses. But I'm wondering, Colonel, from your vantage point, whether the specialist wants to weigh in, that's certainly his business, about this debate back home, whether there should be more of him there, more soldiers. John McCain has indicated, as you know, Colonel, maybe in excess of 40,000. What do you make of that?
Well, my sense from having been over here before during phase 1 of this war and now back over here during phase 4 is there's nobody looking at this thing saying we need more Americans in this fight. What people like Specialist Norris are looking forward to is going home because there's enough Iraqis trained to defend their own country. And my sense is that that's pretty much the sentiment of everybody. You're looking forward to going home.
Yeah, that's pretty much the sentiment of everybody.
And making sure the Iraqis can take care of their own selves.
That's right.
And I don't think that there's any particular sentiment at any level of what I've talked to, and I've seen generals and right down to, brand new privates, as folks have come out of the reserves like Specialist Norris has, who are saying, look, we came here to do a job, we're getting it done, we want to go home, and there's no need to bring a whole lot more of us over here to do it.
Colonel, I wonder if you can ask the specialist what his plans are for Thanksgiving. What are the troops doing over there?
Well, you've got obviously a big holiday coming up.
Yes.
And I know for a fact that there's going to be a big Thanksgiving celebration here on the base. But
yes.
You've obviously got family back home. What are they going to be doing?
Well, they'll probably be gathered together as family. I hope that they're all together. The best thing that they could do for me to honor me in any way would be for them to be together. I wouldn't want them to be separate on my account because I'm not here.
Anybody at home you want to wish a happy Thanksgiving to?
Yes, my wife, Stefan, we'll be celebrating our 3rd anniversary on December 23rd of this year.
Well, God
I've been
willing,
happily married to her. She's a lovely wife.
God willing, you'll be home with her, too.
That's right, hopefully.
Time to shut down Studio C for another week. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. And as you watch Fox News in the coming week, email us at sundaybest@foxnews.com and let us know what you'd like to see again. I'm Jane Skinner. Have a great week. Good night.